Bluetooth is terrible. It's abysmal, and it's a red herring. But let me qualify this. Bluetooth for headphones, for listening that's not intentional, for listening while you're running, for listening while you're on a plane, fine. But for hi-fi, if you're an audiophile, you should hate Bluetooth. And today I'm going to tell you 5 reasons why.
If you're watching this, that means you're probably my age and you're probably stressed out because the kids are at home. But wait, today's sponsor is going to help you with that. Eat stress-free this summer with Factor. Factor's delicious, ready-to-eat, never frozen meals are chef-crafted, dietitian approved, and ready in just 2 minutes. Choose from a weekly menu of over 35 different options, including Calorie Smart, Keto, Protein Plus, or vegan and veggie. There's also over 60 additional options like breakfast, snacks on the go, and beverages to keep you fueled up and ready to take care of your kids during the summer. Or drop them at camp. I'm constantly stressed, and Factor takes the stress right out of meal preparation. Going to the store, it saves me time and it saves me money in the long run. They have a bunch of different options too, like smoothies, like snacks, like breakfast, like fresh juices. Skip the overpriced takeout trap. Factor is cheaper and faster because you get chef-crafted, restaurant-quality meals in less than 2 minutes. So head to factor75.com/cheapaudioman50 and get 50% off your first Factor box and 20% off your next month's orders. That's code cheapaudioman50 at factor75.com to get 50% off your first box plus 20% off your next month's orders. Thank you, Factor, for sponsoring today's video.
Numero uno. The sound quality is abysmal. We're going to talk about codecs and how misleading they are. The sound quality is just bad. If you compare Bluetooth from an iPhone that's using an AAC codec to a CD to even an MP3, the sound quality is compressed. There's no dynamics, and you can test this out for yourself if you have an Apple device. But trust me when I say, regardless of the codec, your Bluetooth signal is going to be packed tight in a bag too small. It's going to be UPS'd over to the receiver and thrown down a flight of stairs and then unpacked and messily thrown together on the other side. Bluetooth for fidelity is terrible. Here's the biggest reason why you shouldn't be using Bluetooth, in my opinion. I call it the Codec Carousel. If you have an iPhone, you have to use AAC. Now, some pundits of Bluetooth will say that there is an ALAC codec, and that is true for the iPhone, but it only works with the AirPod Pros, the latest generation, the USB-C generation, or the AirPod Max. I don't know, it's the over-the-ear Apple headphones. And it only works with the Vision Pro, which is their 3D thing. So if you're using a regular Apple device like a phone or an iPad, you're going to be using an AAC codec. But the codec problem goes much deeper. There are continually new codecs coming out that claim to be more resolute, have more resolution, be better, be able to transfer more data. And Bluetooth was never intended to transmit music. It was intended to transmit a little bit of data over a little bit of space. So you have aptX, you have aptX HD, you have aptX Adaptive, you have LDAC. The problem is a hardware and a software issue, because both devices, your receiver and the transmitter, i.e. your phone and whatever is in an integrated amp or a DAC or a streamer, they have to have the same codecs. So for instance, if I have a DAC that accepts LDAC codecs and claims to be awesome and be able to transmit high resolution 24-bit up to 96 kilohertz tracks, but I'm using an iPhone, it's not going to work. And when it doesn't work, it drops down to the SBC codec, which was kind of like the OG codec, which really isn't terrible. But the point is, if you want to take advantage of these high throughput Bluetooth codecs, both devices have to have that codec available. Most of the time that is hardware dependent, which means if you buy a DAC today, it probably is limited to aptX or aptX adaptive or LDAC. None of those will work with an iPhone, and any new codec that comes out is not going to be available on your device most of the time. Sometimes it can be unlocked in software. The majority of the times it cannot be unlocked in software, and most of the DAC companies like Topping, SMSL, Eversolo might be able to do it because they're Android based, but most of the DAC companies that have Bluetooth are not going to be able to unlock a new codec even if it's available. And even if you do unlock the codec, you're probably going to have to buy a different device to beam that new codec over to the new fancy codec receiver. So in theory, all of these different codecs are great, more throughput, yay! But in practice, you end up having to buy an entire new set of devices to be able to utilize that, when you could just buy an $80 streamer that streams true, bit perfect, high definition tracks, lossless tracks, for less than the cost of a steak dinner for two. So why would you use Bluetooth anyway? Oh, and by the way, those devices also have Bluetooth and AirPlay and Chromecast, which are way better than Bluetooth. One of the arguments I always get about Bluetooth is that it's convenient, and during dinner parties or when you have guests over and you want the guests to be able to take over the music, that it's good. I would argue, how many dinner parties are you having? The point is, most people say they use Bluetooth because of convenience. But how convenient is it really? Because if you turn off your phone, if something glitches with your phone, if you get a notification, if you have anything going on with the device that is initiating the Bluetooth contact, then you're going to have dropouts. And if you have dropouts, it can take you out of the music. Again, I would argue that anybody that is using Bluetooth to listen to music probably isn't listening to that music intentionally. They're probably listening to that music passively, and in that case, Bluetooth is okay. But for intentional listening, I don't think you should listen to Bluetooth, and I don't think you should listen to Bluetooth because I don't think it's convenient at all. So we all know you hate Bluetooth, Randy. What's the solution? Well, I kind of just keyed in on it. With the advent of streaming products from WIM or Weem, really, there's no reason that you should be using Bluetooth in your hi-fi setup because it is so inexpensive to get into the WIM network of products. It's easy to use. It has Tidal Connect, it has Spotify Connect, does Amazon Music, does everything that Bluetooth can do fundamentally, and has different options like internet radio, and it does it in a lossless way, and it does it at $80 or $150 for the WIM Pro. Aurelic also has a device that can do most of it, Blue Sound. Now with Blue Sound, you're gonna be paying a little bit more. You're gonna be paying around $400 or $500 to get into that ecosystem. But the point is, there are still Bluetooth, hi-fi Bluetooth devices that are being sold today from places like iFi that claim to be high-resolution Bluetooth receivers and DACs, and they're really not. There will never be a lossless Bluetooth codec. At least one doesn't exist today. Some do in theory, but again, you have the problem of having to have the transmission device and the receiving device have that same codec. And oftentimes, if you don't have a good connection, that codec won't be used anyway. It will drop itself down to a lower codec that has a more stable connection. So even if you think you're getting LDAC, sometimes you're not. Even if you think Even on AirPlay 2, sometimes you think you're getting ALAC, but it's actually dropping down to AAC, but that's another discussion to have. There is really no reason to use Bluetooth in your hi-fi system. Save up a little money, get a WIM, I can't say WIM, because I called it WEAM. I've called it WEAM, and I did the first video on the WEAM Mini, so I'm gonna call it WEAM. Get a WEAM, get an Auralic, get a Blue Sound, and don't worry about Bluetooth. I wish and I get it, manufacturers kind of have to include Bluetooth in their devices because we've been propagandized so much in the hi-fi world that we need Bluetooth. We don't need Bluetooth. We need an $80 little streamer that's lossless. That's what everybody needs. Life is too short to listen to terribly compressed music, and there's no reason to when you can get a lossless streamer for less than $100, which is less than a Bluetooth receiver from other hi-fi companies. The argument about Bluetooth and its associated codecs is a red herring issue. It's not the problem. A codec is not the problem. Bluetooth is the problem and always will be the problem. And if you're listening to your music intentionally and not doing anything else but enjoying the music, Bluetooth is not the way to do it. If you like this video, you really need to check out this other video I did about Bluetooth, which got over 100,000 views, and that's the only reason I'm following up with this video. Check it out. I talk about the Auralic streamer, but also check out the WEAM streamers, check out the Blue OS streamers, and actually listen to your music how it was intended to be listened to. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe.